Have you ever sent a text, waited hours for a reply, only to see read and nothing else? Or worse, watched the typing bubble flicker, disappear, then silence? We've all been there. You typed carefully, tried to be funny, tried to show interest. But instead of sparking attraction, you were met with dry responses or no response at all. And in that moment, a silent fear creeps in. Did I say the wrong thing? Am I coming off too strong, too boring? Let me be real with you. Most men don't fail to attract women because they're bad guys or unattractive. They fail because they don't understand the psychology of attraction through words. And in today's world where most of our first impressions are made through a screen, texting isn't just communication, it's influence. The truth is, your words, when used correctly, can shape how a woman sees you. They can build attraction without begging for it, create respect without forcing it, spark interest without ever chasing. But if you text without strategy, without self-respect, and without awareness, you're not building desire. You're quietly killing it. See, the difference between a man who gets left on red and the man she texts back with energy and curiosity isn't about looks, it's not even about money. It's about the way he carries himself through conversation. Texting is a mirror of your mindset. A high-value man doesn't chase, he doesn't overshare, he doesn't try to impress. He leads, he communicates with intent, he speaks with clarity, and that's what we're here to break down. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 powerful texts, not pickup lines, but actual, well-crafted messages that will trigger her curiosity, make her respect your presence, and shift the power dynamic in your favor. This isn't about playing games, this is about being a man of value and communicating like one. So if you're tired of ghosting, confusion, or overthinking every word you send, stick around. Because once you learn how to text like a high-value man, you'll never feel unsure again. Before we dive in, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for real, no fluff relationship guidance, and drop a comment below. What's the most embarrassing or confusing text experience you've ever had with a woman? Let's dive deep. Let's rewrite the rules. Let's talk about the 5 smart texts that make women respect and want you. 1: text with intent, not emotion. Here's a truth most men don't realize. The reason most men fail with texting? They text with emotion, not with intent. You've been there before. The moment you send a message, your phone is glued to your hand, waiting for that little typing bubble to appear. You start overthinking. Your mind races. What did I say? What should I say next? You start checking your phone constantly, hoping for a response. Then you send another text, and another. The cycle repeats, and what happens next? She either replies with something distant, like a dry lol, or she doesn't reply at all. It's frustrating, it's confusing, and it leaves you wondering if you said something wrong. Here's the cold truth. Your emotions are running the show, and that's a big problem. Most men start texting out of fear. Fear of being ignored, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. So they start throwing text after text into the void, hoping something sticks. They use too many emojis, flood the conversation with questions, or send a string of, "Hey, just checking in" messages. That's a rookie mistake. A high-value woman doesn't need validation from your texts. She wants a man with purpose, clarity, and confidence, not someone desperate for a response. Texting isn't about showing that you're available all the time or that you're waiting for her attention. It's about having a direction in your communication. It's about creating moments that add value to her life, not just filling the silence with random thoughts. Think about it. If you constantly text out of boredom or neediness, you're projecting a lack of purpose. But a high-value woman wants to feel that you have a life, a mission, and the inner strength to not be glued to your phone 24/7. When she texts you, it should be an invitation, not an expectation. Let's break it down. Here's your first powerful text. "Hey, I saw something today that reminded me of our last conversation, made me laugh. You've got a sharp sense of humor." What makes this text powerful? It's not needy. You're not asking for a reply. It's observational. You're showing you were genuinely paying attention to what she said. It's personalized. It's tailored to her unique qualities like her sense of humor. It's confident. You're not demanding validation, you're simply sharing something that made you think of her. Notice how you're not begging for attention or forcing the conversation. You're inviting her into a moment, sharing something small but meaningful, allowing her to respond or not, without pressure. This approach communicates leadership and self-assuredness. Texting with intent is a reflection of who you are, a man who doesn't chase validation but values meaningful communication. So next time you text, remember this. Don't text out of emotion. Don't text because you're bored. Text because you're a man with a purpose, with confidence, and with something to offer. 2. Leave space. Let her reach out. 2. Let's be honest for a second. Most men feel like they have to keep the conversation alive at all times. They think if the conversation goes quiet, she'll lose interest. So they keep texting. They send another LOL, another what are you up to, another meme, and with every extra message, they kill the tension and lose the power. Here's what most guys won't admit. You don't need to be the one chasing the conversation. In fact, always chasing is the fastest way to lose her interest. Because a man who never leaves space, who's always available, who's constantly texting, becomes predictable. And when you become predictable, you lose mystery. And mystery is power. High-value women are constantly pursued. They're used to men trying to impress them, trying to be funny, trying to stay in the conversation no matter what. So when a man shows the restraint to stop talking first, the discipline to hold his energy back, the self-respect to walk away while the spark is still alive, he stands out. He becomes memorable. Because here's the truth, attraction grows in space. Let her miss you. Let her wonder why you stopped texting. Let her feel that quiet moment where she thinks about what you said and finds herself wanting more. That's where the shift happens. Here's a perfect example of a confident closer text. You're interesting? I like talking with you. Let's continue this another time. I've got something to knock out. It's short, it's clean, it's grounded. You're not ghosting her. You're not being rude. You're ending the conversation with value, and you're making it clear that your time has purpose. You're not chasing, you're leading. This kind of message does 3 powerful things. 1, it communicates self-respect. You're not going to sit around waiting for a reply. 2, it builds tension. You end things while the energy is still good. 3, it shows control. You decide when to step away and you do it with confidence. Most men think that being available all the time makes them more attractive. But the opposite is true. The man who can step away from the conversation at the right moment, that's the man who gets remembered. Because while other guys are flooding her phone, you're giving her a reason to check hers. So don't be afraid of silence. Don't be afraid to let the conversation rest. Don't be afraid to be the man who says, "I'll talk to you later," and actually means it. That's not disinterest. That's discipline. And in a world full of over-texters and constant attention seekers, discipline is magnetic. 3. Tease with intelligence, not immaturity. Let's clear something up. Playfulness is attractive, but immaturity? That's a fast track to being ignored. A lot of men hear advice like, "tease her a little," and instantly go off the rails. They start mocking, using sarcastic jokes, or saying things that feel more like teenage playground banter than confident masculine flirtation. And guess what? That doesn't make her smile, it makes her cringe. There's a huge difference between teasing with confidence and being childish. A high-value woman doesn't respond to immaturity. She responds to cleverness, to wit, to a man who can make her think and laugh in the same breath, a man who knows how to flirt with subtlety. Not by trying to be the class clown, but by showing he's sharp, playful, and emotionally intelligent. Let me show you an example of a smart, flirtatious tease that hits the mark. You seem like the type who takes charge, but secretly loves when someone else does. Dangerous combo. That line, it's layered. Why does it work? 1, it's observational. You're not just throwing out a canned line, you're responding to her vibe. 2, it's a challenge. It playfully calls out a duality in her personality, without disrespect. 3, it flirts without pressure. There's tension, but it's tasteful. 4. It invites her to play. You've opened the door for a witty, curious reply. This kind of teasing isn't about mocking her, it's about reading her. It's not about trying to be clever for attention, it's about being authentic and comfortable in your own skin. Texting isn't a talent show. You're not trying to impress her with punchlines. You're trying to create connection, chemistry, and emotional energy that keeps her coming back. And here's the secret. Women can sense the intention behind your words. If you're teasing to mask insecurity, she'll feel it. If you're trying too hard, she'll see right through it. But if you tease from a place of grounded confidence, with curiosity and humor, that's magnetic. So here's your rule. Be playful, not petty. Be confident, not cocky. Be clever, not crude. Because a man who knows how to tease with intelligence isn't just attractive, he's unforgettable. And in a world full of guys who text like boys, the man who flirts like a king is the one who wins. Show standards, not desperation. Let's get something clear. There's a big difference between showing interest and showing desperation. And most men blur the line without realizing it. They think texting a woman constantly, complimenting her endlessly and responding instantly shows her they care. But to a high-value woman, it doesn't come across as confidence. It comes across as lack of self-respect. Because when your entire energy is focused on keeping her attention, she starts to realize something powerful. You're placing her on a pedestal she didn't ask to stand on. And women don't respect pedestals. They respect men who respect themselves. You see, the moment you start treating her like she's your world, especially before she's even earned that kind of status, you unconsciously tell her something about yourself. That you don't have a mission, that you don't have standards, that you're available to any beautiful woman who gives you attention, and no high-value woman wants to be with a man who treats every woman like a queen just for showing up. So how do you shift that energy? How do you show that you're confident, grounded, and selective without coming off cold or arrogant? You show standards, subtly, consistently, powerfully. Here's an example of a high-level text. I really admire women who are direct and know what they want. Rare these days. This may seem simple on the surface, but it communicates so much underneath. You're not trying to flatter her. You're not putting her on a pedestal. You're letting her know that you notice real traits, and you value character over appearance. You've just shifted the frame. You're no longer seeking validation. You're communicating that you're the kind of man who pays attention to the right things, and you're inviting her, without pressure, to show you whether she matches that standard. This is how high-value men lead conversations. They don't try to impress every woman they meet. They let their standards filter the right women in and the wrong ones out. Here's what that looks like in practice. You don't respond to dry or one-word replies with more effort. You don't chase a woman who doesn't show mutual interest. You don't beg for her time. You invite her into your world and keep building it whether she joins or not. That's the posture of a man with purpose. And here's the truth. High-value women aren't looking for a man who's going to agree with everything they say. They're not looking for a guy who says, "You're perfect," 5 minutes after meeting them. They're not looking for validation machines. They're looking for discernment. Because if you treat every woman like gold, it's not a compliment. It's a red flag. It tells her you don't know what you're doing. It tells her you're emotionally starving, and she's just the latest source of attention. But when you show calm interest, clear standards, and zero desperation, that's when she leans in. That's when you start commanding respect and attraction at the same time. Because ultimately, texting is not about being liked. It's about being understood. It's about letting her know, without saying it, that you're not here to impress her. You're here to connect, assess, and lead. And if she fits into your world, great. If not, you'll keep moving forward. That mindset right there, that's what makes a man magnetic. Not neediness, not constant attention, not compliments on her looks every 10 minutes, but strength, standards, and silent confidence. So from now on, before you send that next message, ask yourself, am I trying to be liked, or am I expressing my values? Because women don't fall for men who seek approval. They fall for men who walk with clarity, speak with purpose, and live with discipline. Show standards, not desperation. 5. Mirror energy, not emotion. This one might sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful tools a man can master when texting a woman. Mirror her energy, don't chase her emotion. Here's the hard truth. A lot of men lose respect in a woman's eyes, not because they said the wrong thing, but because they over-invested emotionally. They kept giving energy even when she stopped matching it. It starts small. You notice her replies get shorter. Her texts come slower. She stops asking questions, stops showing interest. But instead of stepping back, you lean in harder. You double text. You over-explain. You chase. And right there, your value begins to drop. Because here's what high-value men understand. If a woman's energy shifts, you don't panic. You reflect. That doesn't mean you ghost her. It doesn't mean you act petty or passive-aggressive. It means you match her pace. You mirror her effort. You keep your standards without letting your emotions take control. Because men who chase lose power, but men who mirror keep their frame. Here's a confident, emotionally intelligent text to send when her energy dips. Hey, you seem busy. Let's catch up when you've got more space. Talk soon. What does this do? It respects her time. It respects your time. It sets a calm boundary. And most importantly, it shows you're not afraid to pause when effort isn't mutual. That's self-respect in action. Because women don't just test with their words, they test with their energy. And the man who passes those tests is the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't beg, and doesn't lose his cool when things get quiet. Instead, he steps back confidently. And that space, that silence, it often reignites her curiosity and her respect. Because remember, respect doesn't come from saying the right words. It comes from living by the right standards. The man who stays calm in the face of low effort, the man who doesn't seek validation but remains composed, that's the man who becomes unforgettable. Texting isn't a game of speed, it's a game of presence, intention, and consistency. If you want women to genuinely respect and desire you, don't text to impress. Text to express who you are. Lead the conversation like a man who's already whole. Be calm. Be clear. Be confident. And most importantly, be willing to walk away from anything that doesn't meet your standard. Because in a world full of guys who over-pursue, overthink, and overcompensate, the man who texts with self-control becomes magnetic, and the man who mirrors energy, not emotion, becomes unstoppable. If this video brought you real value, take a second to like, share, subscribe. I drop real, practical relationship advice for men who are ready to lead, not chase. And drop a comment below. What's one moment where mirroring energy changed the way a woman responded to you? Let's talk about it. Until next time, text like a king,